everybody. It's Chef from Dia de los Puercos, coming to you from the city of Pomona, the beautiful city of P-Town. Today with the Firme Hour with El Chef y Bad Bruja. Bad Bruja is absent today. She had some business to take care of, so she's given me the privilege to interview our first official guest on Firme Hour, none other than MC Pancho.
It's an honor. It's an honor, Rick.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we have Chamarita here. She's in the background. Hello, Chamarita. Thanks for being here. So thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Love that you were able to make it out from the harbor area. I know it's a mission, and it really speaks a lot about the two of you and how much that you show support for the cultura, for the gente, and you're there no matter what. You guys have always you always make it a point to try and make it, if not let it be known that you're there in spirit, or
Right.
you know, always about supporting. So for those people who live under a rock, you know, or don't have a phone, still rocking the Razor flip phone, tell us a little about yourself, MC Pancho, and your background in music and Cadillac P, right?
Cadillac P is the name that I used when I came back out of retirement. I started doing mixtapes at the age of 18. 1988 is when I created I call him the character of MC Pancho. I did these cassettes called the Harbor Area Sounds. I did over 30 of them, and they were dedicated to a little girl who was handicapped. So volume 1 was just to raise money to start an account for her. I gave it to the family, and I was a duffel bag boy. I sold them out of a duffel bag and out of a trunk of a car, and they just took off from there, you know. And my biggest investor, because I know we got an hour, so I'm going to try to cut.
No,
I can
it's
talk.
all
You guys
good,
know
man.
me. I can
Go
talk
for
and
it.
talk.
Let it flow.
So my biggest investor was my mother. You know, she seen I had something going there, so she was like, "Oh no, we gotta get you some high speed dubbing, dual cassette decks." So I mean, those were made out of my house. I started off as a DJ, and they were made off of two Technique 1200s and a Newmark 1700. And like I said, I did over 30 mixtapes titled The Harbor Area Sounds. 3 of them were titled Ain't No Stopping the South. And that was the late 80s to early 90s era, before CDs came in.
Yeah, man, the good days.
Yes.
The good rap music.
That was my era.
Yeah. You spoke a little bit on your investor and your backer and your foundation before, you know, Chamarita came into the picture, your mother. And watching your videos and watching you on social media, it's beautiful to see the how you make sure that the matriarch's memory lives on forever. And whether it's through portraits or the Cadillac oven, or the monarch butterflies,
Right.
I see how a large part that your mother was in your life, even today.
Yes.
Her memory will always live on. So
Yes.
that's beautiful. And also with your father,
Yes.
Boxer, veteran, right? Medal, right?
Silver Star. My dad was a professional fighter. He fought out of the Wilmington Bowl and the Olympic Auditorium and a few other spots out of Colton. And U.S. Army, 2nd Illinois Infantry, Silver Star, and 2 Purple Hearts. He took 4 bullets. So he took 1 in each arm, went into the hospital, came back out, and then took 1 in each leg. And then he single-handedly disarmed a gunner and, saved his infantry right there, and his unit, rather. And that's what gained him the Silver Star.
That's awesome.
Which is high to achieve in combat.
Yeah. So the stories that you share about your parents they're awesome. Your mother being the founder of the car club, right?
Yeah, the car club. We low ride Harbor Area Vida, and my mom was the one that named it, and we just went from there.
Yeah. It seems like your parents were really involved in your life, and your mom had a lot of inspiration in your life, and bringing the culture to your life, and you can see it in the paintings in your garden, and your tatuajes and your jewelry, and it's I found very amusing, for lack of a better word, is how you say, and if you could speak on it a little bit, of her, not only her inspiration for you, but the bringing the culture into the life of Chamorita.
Yeah, well, my upbringing was a little bit different. Like a lot of I get from people is, what did your mom think of your tattoos? And I'm like, my mom had tattoos. She had the homemade, and she got them when she was like 9 years old. She had the dot, the Pachuco cross, and initials and stuff like that. So she was the type that you couldn't put anything over on, what I mean? And I had a brother who passed away of an overdose of heroin, and my mom had him at 16. And same father and everything, so I wasn't really supposed to happen. I was a mistake because she had me at 32 and she had my brother at 16.
Well, that's a big gap.
Yeah, that's a big gap, So her growing up was like she always said, I grew up with you too, Frankie, because she would listen to the music I did, like Zap, the words that I would, my terminology in my era, she would pick up those words, and that was in her era. She was born in 1938, so she came from, my dad was a Pachuco, and I guess you would say my mom was more in the, I guess they call them greaser era, or, with the beehive hairdo in that era.
Right.
So back to what you asked when Chamarita came in the picture, I remember I brought her home to my mom, and she was like, I like her, Frankie, she's cool and everything, but, she's not Chicana, but I like her. And you know what? I think if we dyed her hair blonde, we did. and Chamarita had that look like she should have been on a can of pineapple juice or something. You know what I mean? Straight islander from the island of Guam, and that was what I liked. I was like, Mom, I like her the way she is. And no, after hanging out with my mom, her hair, she dyed her hair blonde, and took her to get her first tattoo, and next thing you know, she made her a little chola.
Yeah. And would you say that Chamarita adapted to the same personality? And we spoke before we went on camera about, and we'll touch on it later on, but about how you guys respond to the haters out there. And meeting, we've known each other for a while, not very long, but it didn't take long for us to have a strong bond.
Exactly.
And I see that Chamarita's, and both of you got each other's back, but she's more like, don't fuck with him, like.
Yeah, she became, which I'm the type of guy that was never looking for a mother figure. I'm not going to lie, Chamarita became my mother. Yeah. I don't know if my mom's spirit took over her or what, but, she talked shit. She could handle her. She could,
she's with the business.
She's with it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see that. And you spoke a little bit about your older brother, and I don't want to touch too hard on the subject.
Whatever you want to,
and it's funny that you say that. I'm good with it because you shared the story on not too long ago on social media, and I think that was you being able to I don't know, but for others, that's how it helps them to again, lack of a better word, deal with the experience. And so I know there's a lot of gente out there that'll watch it that have had similar experiences in their life, and by you sharing that with everyone, I think it helps other people to deal with those experiences. And how did you?
That's what, honestly, I mean, my social media has become me telling my stories and posting pictures and a story with that photo of what I've gone through. You know what I mean? So yes, my brother passed away of an overdose of heroin. And I've told the story on social media. I was Mother's Day, to be exact. And me and my mom were there with him. My mom could have left me with the sitter. I was 8 years old. And she could have, but she took me there. Mm-hmm. And I think what she was doing was preparing me for hurt and death in the future. And I guess she figured, well, if you could get through this and being right there by your brother's side, you could get through anything, And during that time, my dad was sick with ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. So we were there with my brother and hours until the coroner came. And I remember we didn't leave his side, you know what I mean? Because he was at, homie's pad partying all night. And that's where we got the call early in the morning that he wasn't breathing and he had overdosed. So it wasn't until 9 months later my dad passed away of ALS. And that was actually, 40 years to this day. Today's his anniversary. So that was why I made it this date with you to do this podcast because I knew I had a lot. I had to go to the cemetery and do that, and I go, no, I had a feeling you were going to ask me some questions on that.
Well, I hope I'm not prying
not
too
at
much.
all, not at all, because I talk about it. I can talk about it, and like I said, today marks 40 years of my dad's passing.
Oh, descansa en paz.
Thank you.
My respects go out to your mother and brother as well, and to the two of you for being able to share all this with us, and it's almost like being family. And I think you and I have touched before on what makes you family. And it's not necessarily blood,
right?
Especially nowadays, it's loyalty. So,
exactly.
But thank you for sharing that part of your life, and another important part of your life that I learned by getting to know you and talking to you is your career as a longshoreman. And can you tell a lot of people out there like, hey, hook me up with a job. It's not that easy. Okay, there's a lottery that goes on just to get an application, right?
Yeah. We posted how to go about the lottery. The lottery was a drawing of just anybody could have submitted a white postcard and got picked. It was, whether or not you got a high number or a low number, and it's not rigged. I'm not a union officer, but I am speaking. It's not rigged because we'd have a lot of lawsuits, Maybe some in the past might have been, but this one was legit. They drew over 25,000 names, and there's some people, congratulations, that got picked that didn't have a clue what a longshoreman was,
right.
But they submitted it because they seen my video or Chamarita's video of how to go about that,
And that's very detailed, right? The index card part of it and everything.
Yeah, that was all you had to do. I mean, it was simple. Just fill out a white postcard, certain requirements, size what they wanted, and get it in the mail, and then the drawing. That's the lottery,
right?
So yeah, I've been doing that for 30 years. Those of you that don't know what it is, we load and unload cargo. So pretty much everything you see on me from head to toe came out of a container that a fellow longshoreman loaded that came off of a ship or by rail.
Right. Right. Came out of the container and you bought it. It didn't fall out of the container and you picked it up. So
thank you for clarifying that.
And just recently celebrated your 30-year anniversary as a longshoreman, right?
Yes, 30 years down there.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. It just means we're getting wiser, not older. So
I'll take that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So let's talk more in detail about MC Pancho. I want to touch on your tatuajes and what inspired you for the facial tattoos, and because you post pictures when you got the clean slate, right?
Right.
And so if you can touch on that, it'd be great.
I mean, my whole thing was I always wanted tattoos at an early age, and I remember I had asked my mom since I was, I think, 14, and she was going to give in. And they weren't. We're going back to 1984, so. You really didn't see too many people we didn't have too many people tatting out of houses and stuff like that. It became real popular, I want to say in the early 90s. Everybody was, you didn't have to go to prison. You didn't have to be a ex-con or a biker, or the stereotyping that they all were a gang member that they always give us. I mean, look at the basketball players and celebrities that have them. So I think the 90s is when they really, really blew up. I wanted them since I was, like I said, 14. And my mom was going to give in. We were going to go to a shop and get it. But she was like, well, just wait. Because I really wasn't too sure what I wanted. I wanted the neighborhood, blasted real quick.
Right.
So she was like, okay, you can get that, but, just wait. So then 16 came. She thought I'd, get it out of my head. And I was like, okay, I'm 16 now. What do you think, Mom? What do you think? And then she was like, okay, what do you want to get? And I'm like, I don't know. I had other, maybe this, maybe that. She's like, you still don't know what you want. So just wait. So 18 came, and she's like, well, you're 18 now. You could, you're a man. You're working. You don't have to ask me. Plus, my mom had them. She had tattoos as well. Mm-hmm. So little did she know, I waited till I was 19, going on 20, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna do it, Mom. I'm ready. And there's a guy that's tatting, and his name was Night Owl from Carson. Rest in peace. Single needle out of the house. He made me, I got a guitar string and Indian ink. My own, So I wanted my own needles and my own gun. So he made me a gun, Sony Walkman motor. What was it? Those 9-volt, 12-volt batteries, the big battery, and guitar string.
Yeah, youngsters don't know about that.
I came home with a full sleeve. Bottom line.
Wow.
Bottom line. I was in that. He was tatting on me from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. I'll never forget. And I had to sleep with my arm up, and I came home with the full sleeve, and then it was just an addiction from there. I was there every week, and then I had another homie from the neighborhood, Chato from Rancho Ochos, rest in peace. He did my other arm. So both of these fellas were working on me, and I mean, it just from there. And then as years went on, I didn't complete the full bodysuit. It had been years since I had gotten one. And I remember I never got a shop tattoo. Those were, from the homies right there. So I remember one time I was walking down in the neighborhood on Pacific, and this guy in the shop had seen me, and he goes, "Hey, I know who you are. I see your posters. You ever thought of getting a tattoo?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I already have them." He goes, "No, I like some fill-ins." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So he started filling me. That was David at San Pedro Tattoo. And from there, it just went on and on. And then when I finally ran out of room, because I do have the full bodysuit, then it was, it was time for the face. And the face was something that I waited on because, I mean, it's all Mexica, it's Aztec, it's Cultura, what I have on me. I have the markings of Guatemo on the side, which is the Eagle Warrior, and Cuesaco on my forehead. And what you see over my nose is my war paint for battle. So, that I had to make sure I knew what I was getting there and, the meaning behind it. And, I'm heavy into my culture.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's beautiful artwork, and got mad respect for, knowing what you got. Because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, I got 3 dots. What does that mean?" I don't know. I seen it in the movie, So, but it's the artwork on you, I see, has Mexica and it's cultural, and it's not just something that just, I saw it in the magazine, it was cool.
No, I put it together.
And there's a few people that I know that are out there that have the full face and head and just a full suit. Crazy Ruben.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
Yeah. So a lot, and it's all Aztec, the Mexica culture. Right. And I love it. I probably won't ever do it. I don't think I have the.
I'll never say never.
I don't know. Maybe, huh?
You never know. You're never too old.
Yeah.
To get a tattoo. That's
no. I'm still getting them. I just started my back actually with Tattoo Louis out of Cryptic.
Oh wow. Yeah. Louis gets down.
Yeah, and I got Carlos Macias there, so I want to get something from all those guys. But yeah, I mean, I love the tattoos. Your estilo. When people see MC Pancho, they know. Even Chamorita, you guys. I remember the video, and I was telling you guys, not that I stalk you, it's just that your videos are so memorable. You had to talk her into getting that black trench, and you told her, "Don't worry, it's gonna look good," and then she's like saying how right you were because she loved the way the trench felt after. But people who know MC Pancho, you see the videos that he posts on social media, shouting out where he goes, where he gets his ropa from, his gear, his Greenspans, and then there's another place you go to at the mall in the harbor area, right?
I go to Moda Incorporated, which is in the IE San Bernardino. I go to Via Italia, Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. I mean, I give my plugs up, if it's available, I'll put it out there. A lot of people are like, "Where'd you get this? Where'd you get that?" Those probably stuff I don't know where it came from, or it was one of a kind. I like to be original on a lot of my stuff. Yeah. So but I do give up the plugs as far as where I buy my shoes, hats, my jeweler, everything.
Yeah, your original stuff, like I know is I'm not sure of his ethical background, but the Asian guy that you get the harbor area stuff from, I think he makes it for you.
Oh yeah. That's Jen over there at Fashion Town.
There you go.
So yeah, he hooked up with City Lopes actually.
Oh really?
And they did a hat. Yeah. So that's actually and then the harbor area gear, the urban gear as we call it, street gear.
I got my Pancho Chamorita hat from.
That's right. You're one of the first. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we actually gonna work with Miguel, 2 good people.
Yes, they are.
City Lopes. Yeah. But talk, if you can, a little bit about where your inspiration comes from. As far as I've seen 3 versions of MC Pancho. So you're rocking the Pro Club plaid shorts with the A shirt, and you got the hair down, you're just chilling, and you got MC Pancho who is here today with us, chilling, and then you have MC Pancho who's to the T's, and honestly, I think I see him and I'm like, man, that guy, he knows what's up with the stilo. So where do you draw your inspiration from when you're dressing up?
My dad was a dresser. My dad was a pachuco. And then in his later years, like the 70s era, he was a dresser. I mean, he used to have all the stuff tailor-made. It's not like I looked at a photo, but you would think I looked at a photo of him and said, I'm going to copy him from head to toe. Right. But I didn't. That's the whole thing. From the Stacey Adams to the quarter-length sleeves, the V-cut, the same brims. My mom played a big role because I remember when I first started wanting to wear Pendletons, and none of the kids in school could afford a Pendleton. We all wore Cascades. Everybody had a Cascade.
Yeah.
So we called that a Pendleton. And I remember her telling me, that's not a Pendleton. I'll take it and I'll buy you a Pendleton, but I'll make a deal with you. You got to get give me all B's and C's. You don't have to get an A on your report card. And you get that and you'll get a real Pendleton. And I remember she went and she put them on layaway. And she ended up, that's where they took off from right there, that's where the Pendleton started. And I never told the story on the Ben Davis, but I wanted Dickies. And back then, Ben Davis was, Dickies weren't really like, Ben Davis, if you were wearing Bens, you were doing it. We're going back to the 80s.
Yeah.
This is the 80s era. So we ended up going to, I remember, to a war surplus, and she was going to lay away some Dickies for me. And she goes, well, don't you like these ones better? I think they're thicker. She was always in quality. And they're thicker. They look more expensive. Well, they were more expensive then, So I was like, okay, all right. And she goes, but you're not going to get them 10, 15 sizes bigger.
Yeah.
You're going to get them maybe 1 or 2 sizes bigger. So I said, all right. So her thing was always, she'd buy my school clothes the last day of school for, we'd buy them in June for September.
Right.
So we're in there buying them, and I'm like, okay, I tried them on. I got them 2 sizes bigger. That was fine, but I wasn't happy with that. That whole summer, I starved myself. And I lost. I can't tell you how much. I haven't told this story on social media hearing it first. So now it's time to go to school, right? I didn't get to wear them until, September, new semester. And I was, I think, in the 8th grade when I got my first pair of Bens. I graduated from Levi Court to Bens. And when I tried them on first, I was like, what the hell happened? Like, because I wanted them to boom, overlap, which they did.
And the pleats.
Yeah, the pleat. So, yeah, I think I lost like about 30 pounds that summer. Just so they could do that. She's like, what'd you do? Did you exchange them? Did you take them back? Because, I go, no, you had them. You were holding on to them, so I couldn't wear them during the summer. And that's the story with that,
That's a cool story.
And then she would always tell me, fashion, like, you're going to wear this with that. No, that doesn't match. You're going to wear that and all this goes. And so she was on that.
So Mama had a good influence in the estilo también.
She had a very, very big,
Yeah, and that's crazy, right? Like today, I just the other day, I went to Brothers. I don't know if you've ever been to Brothers off of Holt in Montclair, Holt and Central.
No, you gotta turn me on to that.
Yeah, Brian, one of the owners, really cool cat. But they got your Red Wings, your Ben Davis, your Friscos, Dickies, Pendies. They got Red Cap. So
okay,
yeah, and then they got like more of the newer brands like Brixton and all that. So then they got Hard Luck shirts, Us versus Them. So it's a good selection. So they got some good stuff. But I went and bought. We went to actually shop for a Pendleton and some 501s, and I ended up leaving with Red Cap shirts and Ben Davis pullover long sleeve. And back in the day, it was like wearing the striped ones or the solid color with the matching pants. I mean, you weren't wearing striped pants, but you matched the pants.
Right.
And you rocked that with some slip-on hush puppies.
Yes.
And, it was just to see it. I was telling my wife, this is crazy because the style was lost for a while, and you can only go to OG Greenspans or
Greenspan. Shout out to Greenspans. I give them a lot of business.
Yeah, they kept it alive.
Yeah, and my mom took me to Greenspans. I'll never forget for the first time. That was how I got turned on to them. And that was with the grandfather. So
yeah. Now you have Andrew, right?
Josh and Evan.
Josh and Evan. I'm sorry, not Andrew. Josh and Evan. Sorry. Yeah. Good guys, and they're just chilling when you walk in, and they're sitting there and they're like, "Hey, can I help you?" And they've got their system. I call it the Greenspan system. But I love that place. Shout out. But we'll go from there and how you share the stilo and put it. You just mentioned right now you haven't shared that story on social media. Thank you for sharing it here. But sharing your stories on social media, whether it has to do with the butterflies coming to you, which you probably got. Out of anybody I've ever met in my entire life, the best luck of monarch butterflies coming to you, and it's a beautiful story about the monarch butterfly, and it's all about legacy with the monarch butterfly. And can you touch a little bit about the meaning of the monarch to you?
Well, the week that my mother passed away, this monarch butterfly flew. I was cleaning out the garage. I was just doing anything I could do to stay busy. and this butterfly flew to me, and it landed on me. And the way it charged me, I honestly thought it was a bee. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrified of getting stung by a bee. You know, I've been shot at, and you name it, but I'll probably die from a bee sting.
Yeah,
you know?
I hear you on that one.
So this bee landed on me, and then it flew off me and it landed on. We had a clothesline, and it landed on the clothesline, and we did a one-on-one stare down. And I just said, "Mom, if that's you, I think I'll be okay. Just stick around." And then the butterfly flew away. So I didn't tell Chamarita anything, and that same day she comes home from work, and she tells me, she goes, yeah, I was on my lunch break, and I was having a cigarette. She goes, the weirdest thing happened. I go, what's that? She goes, this butterfly was flying around me, it kept flying, and then it landed on my pack of cigarettes. This is in 2006 when my mom passed. So I go, and she goes, it was weird. It landed right there on my pack of cigarettes. She goes, and then I got the weirdest feeling. I just thought your mom started crying. And then I said, wow, what kind of butterfly was this? And I was honestly hoping that she would say it was white, it was green, any color. But don't tell me it was a monarch, please. Don't tell me it was a monarch. So she goes, it was one of those black and orange. I think they're monarchs.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, wow. So I didn't tell her that it was, I had the same experience. So everybody that knows me knows I'm a collector of artwork. And, I have probably one of the biggest prison art collections, because I have a lot of camaradas that are incarcerated. So they hadn't even got word that my mom passed away. And of all the artwork I've been collecting throughout the years, that same week, I get this drawing that they sent me of this jaguar warrior holding a monarch butterfly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now things are just like, that happen, don't happen. Then I get a letter from the hospital where my mother passed away. They want me to come to this luncheon for grieving family members that lost a loved one,
right,
and share your story and stuff like that. So I didn't need it. I was in denial. I'm like, I don't need this, and I got the letter, put it aside. The letter pops up the following day. So I'm thinking, Chamarita put it there. Maybe she thinks I need it, and we need to go to this luncheon, and I'm going to talk with strangers that, lost somebody, and I'm going to tell them what I'm going through, or, I can't tell her. She's the only one close to me, and she knew. She was there what I was going through. I'm not going to tell a stranger,
right?
So I tossed the letter. The letter pops up the third day, and at that time I ripped it up, and I'm like, I'm not going to this luncheon, and I'm getting upset. I'm like, why do you keep bringing this letter up? It was in between the mail or junk mail. It pop up, so I ripped it up. Well, either they sent me another one, or I don't know how this letter pops. So now I'm mad at her, and I'm really telling her, like, I told you I'm not going to go to this thing. You hear me? I'm not going to go. And I don't know what made me read the bottom of this letter that I kept missing. And it said, come, to our luncheon and grieve for family members that are going through what you're going through, and blah, 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 et cetera, at this time, and experience our butterfly release ceremony. And that I didn't see on the bottom.
Right.
So when I seen that, and I already had told her about my experience with the monarch, and once I got that drawing in the mail,
right.
And then when I seen that, I'm like, oh hell no, we gotta go, we gotta go. And it's strange because that was the day that my mom, her wishes were to be cremated and have her ashes spread out in Las Vegas. So we already had a trip planned for that. So I said, no, we're gonna do a late check-in. We got to go to this first, and then we'll, go to Vegas. And,
right.
So we did. We did that, and that's the first experience. So, I can talk about it all day, but I didn't have any footage of it. I can tell you the story,
right?
But lately, what you see, I've been fortunate to video, and the lifespan on a monarch, they say, is weeks. And as you could see, I've been having these visits for the last 2-3 years now that I've been able to document and put on my Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, it's plenty of experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're not normal. If those of you that are on my Instagram, they're not. It's to a point where I could hold them. I could, take them in the house with me, put them on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. You've seen. There's one that the first experience that we were able to video. She came. I call her she, because I say that's my mother. She came to Chamarita, and Chamarita was able to hold her, and then I remember she walked up her arm onto her face, and I was happy for her, but at the same time, I can lie, I was hating, because I was like, hey, that should be me. Why is that you? That should be me, So, but at the same time, I was happy, and I got to video it, and it's on my page. Well, I shit you not, Rick, a year later, the same butterflies out there flying around a monarch. And I was able to, I go, okay, let me see if I could do what she did. And I went and picked her up, and she did the same thing.
Awesome.
The same exact thing. So that's all, I wasn't high, and I'm not exaggerating any. I wish some of this was fabricated, because the things that I've experienced aren't real, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I get you.
I have video to prove it,
Yeah.
So.
And touching on that, it's like you saying, I wish, some of it wasn't real, or I have video to prove it. We spoke briefly before we went on camera about the negative aspects of social media. Hey, you're hurting the butterfly, or
I had that.
Hey, how come you're so flashy with your jewelry,
right.
or how come you're never at work, or why doesn't Chamarita ever cook, or and to be honest with you, doing this podcast, we're gonna piss some people off, but people, they forget to mind their own fucking business. So
right,
be happy and enjoy the experiences that you're sharing. And if they don't want to see it, then fucking unfollow.
I've said that many times, Rick, and there's a diagnosis for it. I called it I go, maybe they're just depressed and they just want misery and joyous company. They see somebody doing something positive, or they see somebody happy, and they just want them to be miserable just like them.
Yep.
And a lot of us feed into it. I do. I have.
Oh, I do too.
I have. You know what I mean? And it's a no winning battle. You're losing and giving by giving in. You know what I mean? And entertaining that.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned the power of the block button, I call it.
There you go.
I remember me and Chamarita were having a dinner a 4 a.m. Breakfast at Pacific Dining Car. I'll never forget. Right from Scam and Jam.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was drunk at the time, or I had to be.
Yeah, you were.
And I was, okay, you seen it. And I said, the power of this Instagram is just blocking a person. And I go, I think I'm going to patent a little remote where I could just block anybody.
There you go. That's a good idea.
And then I go, because by entertaining and talking to this person, I'm giving them the time, the energy that others haven't given them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Out of my life, a complete stranger. And I go, so I need to just learn the power of blocking somebody, just like saying, fuck you don't even exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. The middle finger's strong, but the index finger's even stronger. Block.
Exactly.
So
I never thought I'd say that. Like, I'm gonna block you. Like, look at this guy with all the tattoos. I'm gonna block you.
But there are a lot of keyboard gangsters out there, or iPhone gangsters, as I like to call you. So the only way to deal with them is, orale, I'm gonna block you.
Yeah, don't pay no mind to it.
Yeah, and you're right. Misery loves company, and I think that people who, I spoke a little bit about listening to Gary V, and he spoke on haters, and who gives you the right to be a critic on Yelp when you don't own a business, or you don't cook yourself, or you've never been a chef, or anything, a fashion person, or who gives you the right to be that critic?
Exactly.
If you spent 49 seconds watching my video on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and then you spent who knows how much time thinking of something negative to say or hurtful to say, how bad a situation are you in your life? Where are you at?
Yeah.
Take a step back and critique yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Don't worry about what the other person's doing.
Yeah, and just to touch on why Chamarita doesn't cook is because he doesn't let her.
Well, thank you, Rick, for clarifying that.
No, speak on it a little bit.
Well, I mean, me growing up, my mom had her own way of, and all the stories go back to my mother because it was just me and my mom from the time I was 9 years old on. Her way of, like, I guess you could say we were poor. And her way of making it fun was by buying a lot of canned goods and stuff like that, and saying, "Okay, let's pretend we're out camping, and this is all we could eat." So I mean, I grew up on top ramen out of a package, hormel out of a can, hormel tamales out of a can, and stuff like that, and
spread.
She would make it happen. You know what I mean? But it was a fun thing. So I remember there was this, and believe it or not, Rick, and you being a chef, I don't know if you're hip to Almerdills.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Almerdills
Channel
was
7.
This guy that would go around, and he would dine at different places, and this is a young kid watching these, I mean, I'm not your average kid. I watched a lot of TV, So I'd watch all my deals and I'd see the places he'd dine at. You know, I'm like, man, one day I'm gonna take you, Mom. One day, you know, I'm a kid saying this, and I remember I'd write them down. You know, the spots that he would go to. I'm sure a lot of them don't even exist to this day. So by the time I started working, I told my mom, I go, you're never gonna cook again. You know, I will. You know, you're not gonna cook. You know, so I got you covered. And she didn't. She took me up on that, you know. So she stopped cooking, and you know. But my mom wasn't the type that would like the fancy restaurants and stuff like that. We just go to, you know, simple places like, you know, Norm's, and she'd find a spot, Carol's, and she was cool with those. You know what I mean? So with me and Chamarita was different. I was like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna try this, and you know, I'll Google something, and you know, we're gonna find the best of the best, and that's what we've been doing, and that's what I enjoy doing. As far as documenting it and putting it on like Instagram and showing people this is where we eat. The first place that we ever did that was a spot called Siddle's on Evergreen.
Oh yeah, Siddle's.
And those were our people right there. You know what I mean? They're no longer there, but
unfortunately,
you know, and it was a heartbreak to everybody. But that was the first time I remember, because I would take my guests there from different countries. You know, I entertained a lot of people from Japan, France, Spain. Switzerland. I've had them come from Italy, everywhere you could imagine. Sicily, and that's where I take them. So then I would video their food or take pictures. Really, it started with pictures, and then people would be like, "Oh man, where's this spot at?" You know. And then from there, I'm not a vlogger. I guess vloggers get paid to do that. Our thing was just going to different restaurants, and if it's good, I'm going to put it out there. If it's bad, you're not going to hear it from me. I'm not going to talk negative unless you really, really piss me off and did something. And there might be one or two, you know, but then I became this foodie critic rater, you know, where I'd rate them. And really, I mean, I just tell you, hey, it's off the hook. I mean, it's good. Go check it out. You know.
Yeah, influencer.
You know,
you are, whether you want to admit it or not. You know, and you know, you enjoy the money that you make by working your ass off 30 years, you know, Chamarita también, you know, and you know, if you want to eat out, eat out. You want to buy jewelry, buy jewelry. You know?
That's what,
and then, but there's another story that I was hoping that you would touch on, and I'll bring it up. It's the Cadillac oven. Okay. So, and that's why I say he doesn't let her cook, because of the Cadillac oven.
Well, that's a big, of course. There's an oven, O'Keefe and Merritt, and I guess that was the year that in 1957 that they merged with Cadillac. So it's always a topic when anybody comes to the house. That stove was my grandmother's, my nana's, and it was given to my mom. And my mom would, you know, she cooked on that stove like crazy, you know what I mean, to a point where she took the chrome off. She would scrub it with SOS pads. And, you know, it was, like I said, a 57 O'Keefe and Merritt DeVille. So after my mom passed, I decided to have it restored. I found a guy out in Harbor City called Stove Heaven. And he picked it up and he restored it like restoring an old Chevy, or in this case, an old Cadillac.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're a caddy man. That's
caddy
right,
man,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, you know I am too. You know I am too. So, he restored the whole thing. And, you know, after that, I told Chamarita, no, you ain't even going to boil an egg on this thing. You know, it's for looks, you know. So, I mean, she has cooked on it and, you know, but, no, that's I had to hold on to it. You know, I remodeled the whole house and everything. And during the remodeling, my mom was like, you can't get rid of the stove. This is one thing that you can't get rid of. Yeah. I know it's not going to be modern with what you're going with the cabinets and stuff, but you got to keep it.
If you ever decide to, you know, I'll be there with the truck.
So I know you'd be the one.
I'll carry it home.
I know you're the one. Yeah. I'll will it to you.
Challenge accepted. I'll carry it down the 110 freeway. So, you know, and that's what I wanted all you haters out there to realize, that you don't know the stories behind why Chamarito and Pancho do what they do. And so sit back and enjoy it or unfollow. So speaking on the foodie thing, you know, Pacific Dining Car, Fleming's, Morton's, where else have you been that you shared?
Actually, no, I haven't been to Morton's. I haven't done Morton's. I mean, my main spots, of course, really, I mean, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on here. You already know Dia Los Puercos. I met you guys when you did Taste of Mexico. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I remember I told you, like, oh, they gave me, because you guys knew me.
Yeah.
And I remember you were like, hey, come over here. And you hooked me up. And you're like, you got to stand in line. Come here.
Yeah, you waited in line like everybody else.
Taste of Mexico is like, you pay a ticket to get in there, and you just sample all the food. You eat everything and drink. They had tequila, and I remember silencio, mezcal. I mean, it was a mixture of everything.
It's a day of gluttony.
You know, oh man, it was. And that goes to show you how far back this was.
Yeah.
You know, we're foodies. We're like, yeah, okay, let's go. We had a ball.
We had the trompo out there with the pastor.
Well, it was pastor. I don't know what it was, but it was a taste, and I couldn't wait till you guys opened.
Thank you,
and
brother.
I'll never forget that, you know. So oh man, that was just. Yeah.
I told my buddy, I was like, that's Chamarito and Pancho. Go grab them from the end of the line. And standing in front of you, no disrespect, Gloria Molina. You know, I got love for you, but right in front of you was Gloria Molina and her people. I was like, hey, very quietly, go and grab Chamarito and Pancho and bring them over here. And if
you recall, I was like, no, wait, like,
yeah, you didn't want to piss anybody off. Yeah, I remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what other, you know, I know the stories about coming up and making the best out of the spread ingredient food and you know, nowadays people, youngsters, you have no idea, you know, but what do you love most about being a foodie other than the food? I mean, what brings you joy? What made you be a foodie? Why do you love food so much?
Well, like I said, as a kid, I didn't get to experience all of these different things, you know, and you know, if we couldn't afford it, my mom would pretty much say, we don't like it.
Right.
So I had a lot of, we don't like that. I'm like, well, we never tried it, you know what I mean? But I never questioned it, you know. So as I got older and I would, I remember we were out in Vegas one time, and my mom took me, we're on top of, it wasn't a rooftop, but it was like a high floor. And that was the first time we ordered a steak dinner. She took me, you know, we're one-on-one, and we're eating a steak dinner there. And it was just high-end, high class. I don't even know how we ended up there. And I don't remember. I want to say it was the Union, which was called the Union Plaza. Now it's just Plaza. That's how far back this was. And I'll never forget, the guy came with the pepper thing.
The shaker,
thing. I didn't know what the hell that was. That homeboy made it out of wood, like in wood class.
Yeah, so pepper grinder.
And he comes and he brings it and he just shows it to me. You know, I guess that's where you say yes or no. You want pepper. So I remember I was like a fool. I go, oh, that's really nice. Did you make it? I was like, shut up, Frankie. You're embarrassing me, damn it. You're embarrassing me. I was being real.
I'm laughing at you, brother. I'm laughing with you. I'm laughing with you.
It is funny, you know. So I was like, well, I thought homeboy made that. She's like, damn it, that's the, well, I didn't know there was pepper in there.
Yeah.
To the can.
How am I supposed to know?
Yeah. So thereon, then I mean, an upgrade for us was, I remember El Torito in Redondo Beach, where homeboy comes and makes you the guacamole.
Yeah,
that was something. You know,
that was a great spot back in the day.
Yeah, that was, you know. So I started after I was like, no, we're gonna go to a high end spot. We're gonna pick the fanciest spot where they're gonna look at me and they're gonna think like, you know, okay, this guy doesn't know what he's, you know, and I have picked some high end, reservate where you gotta have reservations and, you know.
But it's an experience.
No, it's an experience, and a lot of these places have welcomed me, and a lot of them already know who I am. I mean, it's a cool feeling, you know. Like one day we were walking, I'll never forget, me and Chamarita, on, I want to say near, it was like West Hollywood. It was a spot called the Catch. Is that, have you been to that spot? No,
yeah, I've heard of it.
That place has a waiting list, and the door guy was, I'll never forget, shout out to the door guy right there, man. He didn't say Pancho. He was like, hey, Chamarita, is that you? So she goes back and, hey, you know, this dude, he's a big dude, like a bouncer. And he was on point right there. And then he goes, do you know what this spot is? And then she's like, no. And she's like, he goes, this is the Catch. Like, there's a waiting list. Like, Kanye was just here, the Kardashians and all that. And he's like, I can get you guys in. You want to come back? So I go, hey, take him up on that. You know what I mean? So he goes, come back in like 3 hours and I'll put you. They took care of us, man. I ain't lying. I remember we went up this elevator. They had us on like the rooftop there eating, and we did it.
Experience.
It was an experience.
That's what it's about, right?
And I go, man, this is beautiful. You know, ain't nobody discriminating because of my tattoos. Ain't no one looking at us differently.
Which I'm sure you get a lot. Yeah.
You know, I do, but I always get like a good conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, what do they mean? And honestly, I have no problem talking about them. You know what I mean? I see some people that don't like being questioned. Well, don't get those kind of tattoos because that's what's going to come with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So when someone, you know, starts a conversation with me, I'll sit down and I'll talk with them. And, you know, I got this when I was, and this means this and this means that, you know.
Yeah, just like you did right now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. So it's all about the experience in your life and sharing the experience, not about flossing or showing off.
You know, when people dislike me, I hate to use the word hate.
Yeah,
get that.
But I'm going to.
You know, yeah. When they dislike me, you know, I'm like, man, you're you're disliking me for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You don't know me, for one, and number two, I mean, look at my life. You know what I mean? The job. We could go into detail how I got that job as a longshoreman. It wasn't because my dad was one. It wasn't because my grandfather was. It wasn't because who I know. Yeah, my dad was one, but he died, and me being so supportive, that's how I became a longshoreman. You know what I mean? And that was the whole purpose of me getting in. Now, if my mom would have remarried, we would have forfeited that opportunity for me to become one. You know what I mean? I'm sure somewhere down the line, I would have put in a white postcard or did something, with the hiring. But no, that's how I got in. So when I tell people, I go, you dislike me for, you don't know me. It's because I'm, like you said, like flossing or living a certain lifestyle, or because we get to eat all the time out, go out to eat. That's where I guess I started explaining myself. And the only one I'd ever explain myself to was my mother.
Right.
Even Chamarita doesn't question me. And that's my wife, and she has every right to, but she doesn't. I started explaining myself to the world, to strangers. Like, okay, this is how I got this. This is, I had this on layaway. This is how I bought this certain ring. It was on layaway for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
And hopefully giving people a different view of me, than straight judgment right away, like, oh, he's a dope dealer. Because I did a podcast before. My first one was with Felipe Esparza.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's up, fool?
Yeah, what's up, fool? And his whole interpretation of me was I was this drug dealer and this and that, and I met Chamarita and brought her back from Japan and got her citizenship, and oh yeah, well, he's a comedian.
All
so
coming from a big vegan.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so and no, I told him no, man. And then he was like, oh wow, there's more to you, and he found out I worked for a lot of this, everything that I have. So
So get to know him before you hate him. That's what it all boils down to. And, again, we're going to wrap it up, but something that we're going to make tradition here on Freedom Hour is, we'd like to ask our guests, because it's all about our culture. So we'd like you to ask you what your favorite dish is. If you had, I hate to put it this way, but a death row meal, right? Your favorite drink, your trago of choice.
Okay.
I think I might know. And your favorite rola.
Okay.
Which I think I know too. So.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna see if I'm right. I'm not gonna let you guys know what it is, but.
Okay. Well, the meal nopales.
Really?
Nopales. You don't find too many people that make them. My grandma, we used to grow them. So the nopales and the tunas, we grow those in the back. And my grandmother would make them with the pork meat and the potato. And diced up nopalitos, squared up, real small. And I mean, she didn't make her own chili. We would use Las Palmas, the can.
Nothing wrong with that.
Was the sauce, not the enchilada sauce, the Las Palmas red sauce.
Red sauce.
So we'd use that. And then my mom learned that, of course, and passed that on. And then Chamarita makes them.
So it's like a guisado. It's a stewed meat.
Yeah,
and then the nopales and the papas.
The pork meat and the papas. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's my favorite.
That sounds fire, Chamarita. Yeah. I'm gonna have to have some of that.
Yeah, she makes it like once a year during the holidays. So I'll definitely.
All right.
Yeah, so she's got that down pat. And then
with tortillas, of course, right?
Oh, of course.
Maíz or harina?
I like flour.
Okay. All right, nothing wrong with that. Grandma taught me one of the first things I learned how to make was flour tortillas at Chamano. And the funny story about that is. I'm not trying to take your shine. I'm going to tell a funny story real quick. Because she had this wood rolling pin that's been passed down. So she's like, roll the tortillas. And like the very first experience of me rolling a tortilla was me rolling right over my fingers. Oh. And yeah, it was pretty painful. So it's kind of like when you're riding a skateboard on your knee. And you run. Yeah. So the next one was your favorite drink.
Favorite drink would be Bucanas.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I mean, I used to do I was always a cognac guy. I do cognac. And then from cognac, I went to Cadillac Margaritas. And then just recently, I got heavy on the Bucanas. The Modest brothers, Abner Modest, shout out to Abner, Hill Fast brother, and Speedy. They brought me back to that Bucanas. We were out popping those bottles, and then you got me a bottle. And
don't blame me, brother.
In the club. And there's people don't know what that is. It's Buchanan's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the whole thing is you don't just drink. You got to pour it down someone's throat.
Oh, yeah. Reference a video with Firme Sundays. Shout out to Curious. What's up, Curious?
George, what's up, man?
But that was an interesting and fun day.
Yeah, we got Rick. You'll see Rick in the video.
The funny thing was that I didn't tell you until right now is that the Con Dios which is what CD stands for. Shout out to Servants, Los. It was fresh on my throat. So when the bucanas, bucanas dripped down my throat that day, I wanted to scream like a kindergarten child. So
I covered you up. I remember I put a bandana right
put
there.
A bandana,
I didn't know that.
It's okay though. That's
because it gets sloppy. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
I got street cred on that one. So, and then the last one, favorite rola. Take your time on this one. You don't got to rush into it.
Well, I mean, we had weddings. Okay, I want to hear what you. Go ahead, and I'll tell you if that's what I was going to.
No, I don't want to say.
No, come on, Rick. Come on.
It's trying to remember now. Von Mason.
Okay, that's a fast one. Feel my love.
Feel my love.
We're known for that.
Yeah.
For boogieing, feel my love. That's me and Chamarita.
You get the Pancho dance.
You know, that's everybody knows
the Pancho boogie.
Song. You know, I named that song the Orange County Anthem because we're always partying out in OC a lot. Shout out to all my gente out there. And that song right there would have to be on the boogie. As far as slow, there's a song by Rick James and Tina Marie called Happy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you listen to that song, you know, every lyric, you know, it's every word in there is me and Chamarita. You know,
all right.
It's us. And there's a story behind that as well.
That's beautiful,
It became my wedding song, one of our wedding songs.
Happy.
You know, Spend My Whole Life With You by Zap and My Cloud by Joe Baton. All right. So I got 3.
All right.
And then the boogie is Feel My Love on Mason.
Yeah. And then there's at the Firme Sunday that we same day, before the Bucanas, there was a song that you had the mariachi play for Chamorita.
Oh, Amor Eterno.
Amor Eterno.
That's my mom, and that's a deep, very, very deep song. So so that'd be in that category as a ranchera, you know, Amor Eterno, and then you got the other ones.
So no one can, and just like me, no one can have just one favorite rola, but you know, we got you down right now, you know, and just want to thank you both for being here, and this couple is genuine. There's nothing fake about them. So I'm gonna speak on it if you don't mind. Stop hating and get to know them and shoot them a DM. They'll reply. It may take a day or two or maybe a week, but they'll get back to you. It's not because they don't want to talk to you. It's not because they think they're too good for you. Be patient. Get to know somebody before you hate them. I got tons of respect for Chamarita and Pancho, even to the fact that every time they go that I've met up with them to have some drinks, take the shots for your brother, your mom, and your dad, right? Yeah. And so, you know, it's just, this man is genuine. So, you know, pump your brakes on the hating and get to know some real ones. So thanks again, Pancho.
I appreciate that, Rick. And if I may say something out there, podcast, that's beautiful what you're doing now.
Thank you.
The podcast right here. It gets stories out like what you're hearing here, you know, from me. You know, you might hear some stuff here that I didn't put on social media, and you know, anybody that takes the time to go out and interview somebody else, like what you're doing right here, that's beautiful, and we need more people like that. You know,
thank you.
That.
Thank you.
Know, so you're the voice out there. You know, what I mean,
trying, brother.
You know, thank you so much for this opportunity and defending me. That's what he did. He went to bat right now. You know what I mean? That's exactly what he did.
I went to bat.
He's like, you know, so thank you, you know. And I just learned, I mean, hey, you know, they're not paying our bills, you know what I mean? So we all have them. You know?
I got you.
Once it interferes mentally with you, that goes for anybody out there that lets negativity fuck with them. You know, I don't know how else to put it. You know, don't let it. Don't let it. Please don't. It's
stay strong.
To say, you know, stay strong. Bottom line.
Yeah.
That's it.
So shout out to Nicole Babruja. We missed you on this one, baby. And shout out to Curious Monday, right? Curious Radio on Mondays. Download the app, Android and iOS. And, you know, Felipe, you got your podcast. And stay tuned for more. Ahí te guacho y nos vemos pronto.
And Carlos Ponce, man.
Carlos Ponce behind the camera.
Right there, man.